You might never have heard the name Friedrich Flick, but he was a prominent figure in the economic landscape of Nazi Germany and its aftermath. Starting out as a coal mining clerk, Flick became a billionaire industrialist and a powerful Nazi insider who helped directly in the genocidal designs of the Third Reich. Eventually, he would be tried for war crimes at Nuremberg and found guilty, but in the end, the story of Friedrich Flick is a story of capitalist class solidarity and the willingness of Western allies to compromise and even collaborate with Nazi war criminals. This is the story of Friedrich Flick, one of many Nazi capitalists who got away scot-free.
If you find the ideas presented in this video interesting or of value, might we recommend Luna's translation of the Vietnamese curriculum on dialectical materialism? It's available now at banyanhouse.org/shop. There's a link in the description. Thank you for your time. We now return you to the program.
Flick's early career trajectory was marked by determination and shrewd decision-making. After completing his studies in Cologne, he secured his first job as a clerk in a coal mining business. Within just 8 years, he had ascended to a position on the board of directors. However, it was his entry into the steel industry that would catapult him into the upper echelons of German industrialists. In 1926, Flick made a strategic move by buying into the Vereinigte Stahlwerke, or United Steelworks, through clever and indirect stock purchases, which some have even described as fraud, and Flick gained control of this giant conglomerate by 1930. Within just 4 years, Flick had seized a controlling interest in the Vereinigte Stahlwerke, and this was the foundation for his future wealth and political influence. Like many prominent capitalists in Nazi Germany, Flick had become a devoted member of the National Socialist German Workers' Party, and by 1933, he had become a financial supporter of the party, donating over 7 million Deutschmarks to the Nazi cause over the next decade. Additionally, his close friendship with Heinrich Himmler led to annual donations of 10,000 marks to the SS. During the Great Depression, Flick faced some financial difficulties. However, he allegedly extricated himself by spreading rumors that he intended to sell his holdings to the French government. And this maneuver allowed him to become a willing buyer in a deal with his own government, fetching a price that was significantly higher than the open market value of his stock. Flick was subsequently accused of manipulating stock prices during this period, profiting immensely from economic turmoil. With the proceeds from these controversial stock dealings, Flick expanded his business empire. His holdings encompass coal and iron ore mines, blast furnaces, smelting facilities, chemical plants, steel mills, transportation assets, and, of course, munitions plants. The German munitions ministry even bestowed upon Flick the designation of a model armaments enterprise. If you've ever seen our video on the functions of fascism and the aestheticization of politics, you'll know that fascists rationally served the needs of the capitalist class by stoking the flames of war, and it was through the Nazi war machine that Flick managed to maintain his wealth right on through World War II. Flick's collaboration with the Nazi regime was emblematic of the deep interconnection between state and private economic activities, and German corporate leaders like Flick played a crucial role in facilitating the Nazis' racial genocide and military conquests throughout Europe. After Nazi Germany invaded France, Flick was able to maneuver his way into a position of massive steelworks in France, which added greatly to his already vast fortune, and Flick readily employed concentration camp slave labor for his enterprise, which made him a willing architect of the Holocaust and the barbaric treatment of Soviet soldiers and other political prisoners. After World War II, Flick's actions during the war seemed to catch up with him. He was found guilty of war crimes at the Nuremberg trials in 1947 and sentenced to 7 years in prison, which, if you ask me, is a slap on the wrist. The Soviets did permanently confiscate all of his assets in East Germany, which constituted about 75% of his empire. The Western allies allowed him to maintain many of his assets in West Germany. In 1950, John J. McCloy, the High Commissioner in American-occupied Germany, announced the early release of Friedrich Flick, along with other convicted Nazi industrialists. Not only was Flick released early, he served only 3 out of 7 years. And he was allowed to keep his massive investment portfolio, which included shares of Daimler-Benz, Feldmühle, Dynamit Nobel, Buderus, and Krauss Maffei. On top of that, he was immediately given lucrative contracts with the American imperialist war machine, which at that time was gearing up for its illegal invasion of Korea, in which American forces murdered over 3 million Korean civilians, in part with weapons purchased from Friedrich Flick. Flick was awarded various honors by Western powers, including the Order of Merit of the Federal Republic of Germany in 1963 and the Bavarian Order of Merit. Thanks to these and other deals worked out with Western military and capitalist leaders, Flick managed to become the wealthiest man in Germany in just 6 short years. Flick used his wealth to maintain privacy until he finally died a peaceful death in 1972, owning over 330 companies with over 300,000 employees. His descendants continue to enjoy his ill-gotten fortune to this day. And so ends the tale of Friedrich Flick, one of many Nazi capitalists who got away with genocide. I'm EJ, this is Not Gonna Be. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.